Hello, welcome to New Meta episode 75, 3/4 of a century. I'm Stan, aka The Magic T. With me, Marco and Adam. Marco, how are you doing? Welcome to episode 75.
Thank you. Doing well, thank you.
Nice. How's your week been? Any games?
Yeah, a few. We got a few greens in recently, so when I have a patch of not being able to play, which happened in the last week, I always feel a bit, oh god, am I going to come back and just be dog shit at the game? But fewer party games a day or two ago, cobwebs have well and truly been dusted off. We played the most important heroes, Mars and Ricky, followed by a little meta juggy. All went very well. They're all we crushed them all. It was pretty nice.
Yeah, this is a good patch for you, I feel like. I mean, people are raving about Mars because his W slows now. So you can set up for your own spear, basically, which makes him pretty strong. And then Ricky, people are raving about Ricky. And then you mentioned Jug. His stock is definitely rising as well.
I would like to play the Jug with a Battle Fury. I know one of you two mentioned it. I love a Battle Fury. It's one of my on-Sly favourite items. I think largely because I love Anti-Mage. But Battle Fury is a cool item. I like it.
Yeah, definitely. Battle Fury Jug's a great one as well because it just feels so nice. It almost feels nicer than getting it on AM. Just because of the base attack time and because of the animation and the sound. Like Jug's sound, like the sword sound, is one of the best in the game, for sure. Adam, likewise, welcome to the pod. How's your week been?
Pretty good. Finally got Divine 4.
Yes.
After a long delay. It took 4 tries in the placement match, but we got there.
What got you over the hump? What was the game that got you there? Doom.
Doombringer 3. I actually popped Divine 4 core, which is pretty funny.
Yeah. We core players now.
Yeah, there was a long time where my support and core MMRs were exactly the same. I got them to even up, and then I was just playing ranked classic, so it would go up and down 30 together.
Yeah.
But then ranked classic, it was just like too high variance in the balancing. Like there'd be rank 500 players, and then I'd be Divine 3, and I didn't really like playing that. And like I got brooded twice, and which is apt to happen in when you got like rank 500 people. So it's like I think I'll just play ranked roles instead.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, that the decision between ranked classic and ranked roles. I've been playing when ranked classic first came out. I was playing ranked classic. I've gone back to playing ranked roles now because the variance of position, especially if I want to play my best role, I play mid, and that's very often contested, and so I don't really want to be forced to play a pos 4 or 3 particularly, so I've just been doing ranked roles.
It's funny, I'm the opposite. I prefer classic because when I would do ranked roles, it feels like the 3 core players, so say I'm playing support, the 3 core players are all way higher than the 4 and 5, and it's all these like high immortals or like medium immortals playing 1, 2, 3, and then the slots just get filled with low ranked immortals in 4 and 5, and it felt a bit like there was more range in the game, whereas in classic I feel like I get a nice balanced pool, and then everyone's kind of chill to play anything.
It's definitely, well, I don't know, I can't speak for Adam's experiences, but I feel like it would make sense that ranked classic would be less varied MMR wise, simply because there's more of a pool, right? You just get 5 of this massive pool. You don't need to like get the
I don't think there is
fix.
more of a pool. I think
it's hard to say. I don't know.
I think, and when it gets to a certain MMR, if you're high enough, you can't play ranked roles.
Yeah, that's super high though. That's like rank 400 plus.
It'd be interesting to know the figures of how many people in NA are that high rank, because there will be more high ranked EU players. Like I know NA is a big player base, but it's kind of common knowledge that its highest skill players is a thinner pool than the European pool. So that's
just because there's like 3 times as many players in Europe than there are
so
in
if the player base is that much bigger, then yeah. we'll get it.
It's because it's because Russia plays on Europe West as well.
Yeah.
So we've got like 2 regions in one. A lot of people in Russia play Search Russia, EU West, EU East, and they share the leaderboard and all that. So that's why. But yeah, it is definitely an interesting one. How classic versus ranked roles take shape. I'm out of role queue tokens now. I've just realised I actually have none left, so I'm gonna have to search for all roles, which is fine because I just pull out a Ench 5 after I listen to the last episode. So that's easy wins. That's easy MMR. Also on MMR, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but because it's a straight plus 30, plus 20, or plus 10, depending on whether it's your core, support, or party or whatever. Now MMR is rounded to the nearest 10.
What in client?
Yeah, so everyone's got an MMR to a 10 now. There's no weird specific numbers on MMR, so that's nice.
That's cool. So we could have got like a 5 MMR boost, maybe.
Yeah,
Christmas
free
game
MMR. Yeah, Gaben producing for the fans. Also, I like the fact that you get these. I don't know, do I like it or not actually? But New Bloom, you get to donate spins rather than getting spins yourself. Well, you do get spins yourself, but you also gift spins. It's quite interesting. So now I can appease people. If someone says, "Do you want to play?" and I message them back like, "No, I just want to play solo. Sorry." I keep them on board by sending them a New Bloom spin. Get them like an out of date Tree and Protector skin to appease them.
BZZ Pugna set.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. My games have been interesting. I'm 12-1 in my last 13 unranked games. And that one unranked loss was like an insane throw with me and Adam and Nightright yesterday. So really, I should be 13-0 in unranked in my last 13. But there you are. That's pretty crazy. They need to make unranked ranked. They need like badges for unranked. I'd be Immortal. So
you just need to trick yourself. Have someone else queue for you, and you think it's unranked.
Yeah,
I need to just pick heroes that I'm bad at. All my last game is like Zeus, Monkey King, Timbersaw, Quap. Like these heroes I don't play. It's quite funny. To be honest, if I'd got some ranked games in at the moment, I'd feel pretty good about it. I just haven't played ranked in like a week. So, is there anything else we need to report or discuss before in intro sections? I don't think so.
They extended the New Bloom for 10 days.
Nice. Get to spam ceremonial drums for a while more longer.
Yeah. I was really worried I wasn't going to get to level 20 on February 3rd was supposed to be the last day, and then I load in, it says the February 13th. It's like, I must have just not read that right for 2 weeks. I'm like, no, that can't have been the case. And then I saw the change log.
So when does it run out? From how many more days?
A week, I think. The 13th.
That's nice. I'm definitely going to get one treasure then. That's nice.
And they bumped it up to level 30 cap.
Yeah. Nice.
But I just wanted the drums and the gong.
Yeah. The drums are great. Have you got a treasure then?
Yes.
Which one did you get? Did you get the weird Dazzle face?
No, I got the weird Arc Warden. So the hero I'm never going to play.
Yeah, that's a shame. Arc Warden
it does look very strange.
Yeah, a lot of them are very weird. The Rubik
My
face.
glance value.
Yeah, Rubik's actual face. Not sure about that. Is that lore friendly? In terms of the meta then, we're going to be talking about... in terms of the episode then, we're going to be talking about tier 5 neutral items. Finally putting neutral items behind us in the most drawn-out series of all time in Dota content world. Finally, neutral items are going to be ticked off. Before we get onto those, though, a quick snapshot of the meta, because I think we had quite a large patch, 7.24, was it? Yeah, 7.24.
Well, that was the post-major patch, but the biggest changes really were the outpost, shrine stuff, whereas the hero changes were pretty minor.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
But then it was 7.23 that was outposts. That was post-TI patch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but they've been they've been
they've been
edited
rejigged
a
and all that. Yeah.
So we're kind of still getting to grips with 7.24 because I think the changes are significant, and like you say, these general changes are more significant than the hero changes, and that means that it's deceptive which heroes are going to rise and which ones are going to fall, because you can't just go to the hero section and be like, wow, this hero's got stats and a bit more move speed and therefore they're going to be really, really good in the meta. And while that's true for some heroes, like Slardar, say, I think it's quite obvious he was going to rise. Other heroes, I think, have been a bit more surprising. And one of the biggest surprises, I think, is that Broodmother, Huskar, Lycan, Meepo, the top 4 win rates in Divine Immortal, that is not a set of heroes that you want to be seeing at the top of Immortal. And do you think that this shows that with the removal of shrines, it's more of a brutal kind of game now, and these laning stage free win cheese heroes are even harder to stop because there's not as much opportunity to heal up with shrines? It's not as forgiving.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a massive factor. You don't have that defensive boost, but also I think mobility for your team around the map. If you think about, you used to have this guaranteed I can TP to the shrine, or often I can TP to outposts to assist your team. If you've now got a Huskar running at you, and it's much harder to respond, I feel, and there's then a much higher likelihood that you're not going to have control of your own jungle's outpost. And if that is the case, then these snowball heroes have serious license to just ball over the map because you literally have no vantage points to TP out to, or fewer at least.
Yeah, and with a hero like Lycan, it's similar to Huskar and Meepo, but particularly makes me think of Lycan. The fact that you can just TP to the enemy's jungle, it's like the push never ends. There's no downtime. But yeah, in general, it just seems like a less forgiving game. Also, of these 4 heroes, 3 of them are mid laners, Broodmother, Huskar, Meepo. And particularly for Brood and Huskar, when there's no shrine for the enemy mid, I mean, there used to be 2, then there was 1, now there's none. If you're trying to lane against a Huskar and you're trying to clear the wave and then jungle and clear the wave, that shrine was huge for you. Now you have to walk back to base, and Huskar obviously doesn't need to regen because he's got it built into his hero. Same with Broodmother. If Broodmother dives you with spiders and a Q, you used to be able to shrine, now you're walking home.
So if you're Dire, that triangle near your mid and bottom tier 2, that used to have a shrine but no longer does.
Yeah. Well, that was... Yeah, that used to have a shrine a while ago, like before Outlanders, and then after Outlanders, it only had a shrine in the primary jungle for Dire.
I see, yeah.
And now it has none. Now there's none.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the changes. Looking a bit further, although we can obviously revisit all of these heroes, because it's not really hero-specific, this discussion, it's more just meta in general. The next 2 heroes that pop up, Slardar and Bane, I'm kind of stuck as to why is Bane suddenly this winning support, Adam? I know you played a sick Bane game, although I don't suppose the standard Bane build is to go Aether, whatever you did, Aether BOT with 18k damage or whatever. But do you have any idea why Bane's so good?
I randomed Bane, so...
Oh, there you go.
It's the power of the mango and fairy fire.
You're telling me you pressed random and didn't random Broodmother? Because my experience playing with you is that every time you random, you get Broodmother.
I know, that's wild. But it feels... he felt really strong, but now I'm really surprised to see him have such a high win rate, 55%. I don't think people have really tried him, to be honest, since all the changes, the map changes. And I think he was kind of probably a bit poor when the first version of Outposts and stuff came out, because, Fiend's Grip is a long cooldown, and now when they reworked the Enfeeble, feels very strong because it's a passive. You don't have to cast Enfeeble on someone to make their status resistance go down and have it last a long time. You just cast a Nightmare, and then they just get auto Enfeebled or whatever.
What does the new Enfeeble do?
Just it's what the old Enfeeble did, but now it's a passive. It's status resistance reduction and magic resist reduction.
Now a passive, your ability is now placing in... Oh, God. I just got on Outlanders, and then... You know how you scroll to something, and then all the pictures load in, and it completely messes up the page? So I have to re-scroll to find it. Reworked Enfeeble. Now a passive, your ability is now placing an Enfeeble debuff on the target, reducing their status resistance by 15, scaling up to 30%, and magic resistance 4%, scaling up to 16%. So yeah, it just means that every time you cast an ability, you automatically get...
So if you brain sap someone, it applies on them. If you nightmare, it applies on them. So you just get the really long nightmare anyways. And then if you Fiend's Grip, you just get the long Fiend's Grip.
Yeah. So the hero's just easier to play, it seems.
Easier to play, less mana, because that was always like 90 mana, 100 mana. And
good point.
He's already he's a great lane bully. He gets 2.6 stats for every stat for every level. So he gets really tanky. Brain Sap, great trading spell. And I think he hits for like 65 or something at level 1.
There's been...
something crazy.
His Brain Sap as an ability now scales way better. So in the past, it used to be pure. So level 4, you just locked in at this 300 pure damage spell. But now it's magic damage. Level 4, it's 400. So then, okay, yes, 25% magic resistance, it's still 300 damage. But the reason it can scale now is this Enfeeble giving magic resistance reduction. That's pretty good. And then just int and spell damage percent increases means your Brain Sap can do more damage. And then he's got this 15 talent of more spell amp damage amplification. So that's, again, a bit more scaling. So that probably definitely does help the hero. And now you can scale a bit.
Yeah, it's interesting thinking about Bane. I presume these stats are from Bane 5. To me, I find it hard to work out comparing Bane to a hero like Lich or even Ench 5. Lich and Ench 5 obviously strike you more as lane-dominating heroes. Bane does that a bit, but do you think that just later on in the game, the utility you get out of Nightmare and Fiend's Grip, just these other heroes like Ench and Lich can't really compare, aren't quite as strong as? Or
well, Fiend's Grip is like a BKB piercing,
insane spell. Just
hold someone down. As long as there's some lineups, they can't Yules you or like Jakiro Ice Path or Tornado. It's like some people just can't, or some lineups just can't deal with a Bane in the trees that just holds someone in place for 7 seconds.
Yeah.
So I think late game, he's pretty good. And then Nightmare, when I was playing yesterday, man, Nightmare felt amazing. You just throw it on someone, and since it lasts so long, it's kind of like a Shadow Demon Disruption offensively. Because those team fights get so hectic, and nobody wakes up their teammates. So, like, a Mars casts his Arena, and then, like, the Invoker's going to obviously follow up with a bunch of combos, and then you just Nightmare the Invoker. Nobody wakes him up, and then you, like, Fiend's Grip the Mars, and the fight's just won.
Yeah.
It felt pretty good.
A final point on Bane that's just an observation. I don't know if this is a factor in his rise in the win rates, but looking at the heroes he counters and is countered by, heroes that do really well against Bane, outside of the top two, Meepo and Lycan, which obviously we just discussed having really high win rates, but they're both very low pick rate heroes, relatively. They're not heroes that you're going to see pop up in your pubs loads, so they kind of can ignore them, even though they're the top two. It's Chaos Knight, Visage, both not seen, very unpopular heroes. Naga Siren, stock is falling. PL, stock is falling. Wraith King, Terrorblade, Tide Hunter. You never see these heroes. Sven, you don't see. Tusk, you hardly ever see. Beastmaster, like, occasionally. Shadow Shaman, you don't see. Silencer's not very popular. Sniper, not popular. Medusa, not popular. Like, all these heroes, that's just me listing off the heroes that are good against Bane. You don't, in this current meta, like, none of them are prevalent, really. Naga and PL a bit, but even then, they're falling away now in favour of some of these other carries, like Ricky and Jurg, Anti-Mage even. Then you look at the heroes that he's good at, He's best against Lifestealer. That's a hero that's still very prominent. Bat Rider is a hero that people are really liking in the offlane at the moment, I think. Phoenix, meh, whatever. Not a great Phoenix metagame at the moment, but Timber is a hero that's picked a lot. Jug is a hero that's stock is rising. Chen is kind of irrelevant. Morphling, meh, whatever. Snapfire, a hero that's a very common hero. Just in terms of some of those counters, that probably helps Bane. The heroes that are traditionally really good against Bane are just not popular at all at the moment.
Well, he's also good against Brood, Huskar, and Lycan.
He's bad against Lycan, right? I mean, it says he's bad against Lycan. I don't know.
It depends. I mean, I guess if you think, how good do you think the Lycan is? Like, Fiend's Grip is good, unless he has a Centaur dominated and runs it at you and stomps you, but that's pretty high level. Nightmare's not very good against Lycan because he can take it off with a creep, and then like with Broodmother, I guess she can, use her spiders and just kill you while you're ulting, but Bane does provide the control that like these cheese heroes, this one big cheese hero, Fiend's Grip is quite good, just kind of like a Doom is.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. Bane, a hero that wasn't touched in 7.24.
I think people are still just trying to figure out Enfeeble and that it wasn't popular at the time, and now people are going to play it more, realize it's good, and then it might be decent again, or like picked. I'm really surprised, though, that it's 55% win rate.
Yeah, it is surprising. Looking a bit further down this list then, Marco, I know one of your favourite segments that's sort of been discontinued recently is Void Spirit Corner, but we can bring it back a bit because both Void Spirit and Snapfire obviously are now in Captain's mode, and this probably explains a bit of a spike in popularity in the Immortal bracket, with pros, obviously, and all the other Immortal players feeding off pros quite a lot and copying strats and stuff, just the natural trickle-down nature of DotA. Void Spirit's popularity has gone up a lot, and his win rate's actually recovered a fair chunk as well, up to 52%, 52.5% in Immortal. And Snapfire's always been doing well. That hero's 53.5% win rate with a 32% pick rate. This hero is in tons of games. The most picked hero in Immortal, even more picked than Slark at 31%.
Yeah, I think that means it's the best hero, right?
Yeah, it's not
able to keep a 53.5 and be in a third of games.
Yeah. And a good comparison is if you look at Disruptor, who arguably, and the pick rate suggests, is the most meta 5. It got a 30% pick rate at Divine Immortal. Win rate is bang on 50%. And that's how you'd expect. Same with Lich. Like, these are very strong heroes, but then you start getting into that realm of, because they're so popular, you're going to get them picked in suboptimal games, or you get the idea. But Snapfire, 33%, and it's 53.5. What?
Yeah, also, like, those heroes get first picked all the time, like Lich and Disruptors, because it's like, you can just use it with anything, and it might not, like what you said, be like the best for the game, but it's necessary that you first picked it. And with Snapfire, I'm sure Snapfire gets first picked all the time as well. But it's just that good. The cookies and the napalm death, or I don't even know what you call the ult. It's like, that's why we threw. That's why Stan is 12-1 and not 13-0, is because the napalm death.
Mortimer's kisses feels bad. Yeah. Were you expecting this, Marco, for Void Spirit to make a recovery in the win rate, and then when he's back in Captain's mode, do you think it's a case of now pros interested in the hero and they'll figure out push his limits?
Maybe there's a little bit more figuring out. I've not seen him in the highest level very recently. Maybe he's benefited from the hype has fallen, so his pick rate is lower, and that he's just getting less hyped picked, and now picked more sensibly, which would help his win rate, perhaps, because he is a strong hero, but he's obviously not on Snapfire tier of strong. I think, and he's fun and flashy, but will get shredded in the right game if you've got the right lockdown. So he's not Omega strong. He's fun. He can slap games, but he's in a pretty fine place, really. I really should see some pro games with him in it, because I've not done that yet, not seen that happen. So it'd be cool to see what they do with him.
it'd be awesome to see some Tier S teams play the Void Spirit and play the Snapfire in some qualifiers or something. I did look at a ongoing tournament on Liquidpedia that was some like Tier 3, Tier 2, Tier 3 Chinese in-house tournament. And Snapfire was a first phase ban in pretty much every game, or it was first phase picked. Void Spirit was completely ignored in some drafts, but was first phase picked in some, and then picked like later in the draft in some. So I think that adds to the evidence that we have that Snapfire is the most strong hero, the most broken hero.
A final point I would say is I've seen in recent times a few POS 4 Void Spirits, which is quite interesting. And I've seen them be quite successful as well. So I've not done it myself, but I imagine the idea is with your E, using it damage offensively, but then it buffs you up as well with this block bit, and then using your Q as this kind of disable a hero able to run and make stuff happen.
Yeah.
It seems like it's been having success, and you just rush a Yules again, and you've got that
Yules
utility.
Q is so strong.
Yeah, so you don't need farm priority on him. You just need him to get a Yules, and then his spells can zip zap, do a lot of work on their own. So maybe Void 4 is going to creep in more often.
I think Void 3 is really big as well. See it offlane a lot.
Yeah, 3 is similar, but just have a bit more farm priority. Makes sense.
The pros will decide this, not me. But just from my experience and how I see the heroes and how I read a lot of these guides that I'm looking through in DotA Buff from players with an awful lot more matchmaking points than me, I think he's one of the best heroes as super high mobility tempo mid, like a puck. I see it like a puck where it's not your carry, you're not building into crazy late game damage output. It's you're building into obviously spell damage and crazy mobility. The fact Astral Step, you have 2 charges, and it's the one of maybe the most bonkers mobility spell in the game almost. So I think you'll see Void Spirits picked up mid in like really high tempo lineups that just want to shut down the enemy farming a lot. Picking Void Spirit against greedy heroes is incredible. So I think that's where I would personally expect Void Spirit to come into the pro level meta. And the reason I mentioned guides is because we mentioned he might still be in an experimentation period. He's definitely either in an experimentation period, or he simply is a hero that has crazy ability to mix up the build. So just in this first page of guides, Phase, Yules, Deso, Shiva, Treads, Orchid, BKB, Blink, Phase, Yule, BKB, Maelstrom, Phase, Radiance, BKB, Blink, Treads, Yules, Deso, Oxarine. There's just so many different builds in all of these, and I think even I've seen Nullifier here, Bloodthorn is here, there's a Shadowblade, there's a Kai Yasha, there's all sorts of stuff. So I think that probably is good evidence to say that he's still being figured out at the very least.
The fact that you could possibly play him maybe in the mid, maybe in the 3, maybe even in the 4. Flex picks at the pro level are super value, so that's another factor in captain's mode.
And it seems like a weird hero to be played as a 4, but you forget that Monkey King 4 was like the most insane POS 4 hero for a long time. They had to really work at Monkey King to make him not a POS 4, nerfing all his stuff. Should we go to tier 5 items then? Is there any other meta analysis on any level that we want to bring up?
Drums.
Get your demos ready, because we've got some lesser spotted items. I've only played 2 games with tier 5 items. That said, I've watched a few with tier 5 items, including pro games. So I feel confident enough to give it a stab.
Well, I played one yesterday.
No, nice.
With tier 5s. Yeah, I played a solo ranked, and we went to 66 minutes, and there were 8 tier 5 items in it, so I am all practiced up.
Man, that sounds like mayhem.
And actually, we came back and won against Megas and a Tinker, so
what game? Let's start from the top then. Force Boots. So, and I'm going to read these because they're very wild, these, and it's worth reminding the listeners and us what they do. So, plus 40% movement speed, active force, dispels the user and pushes them 600 units in the direction they are facing. So it's like an OP 4-star that dispels. And passive speed unlock completely removes the speed limit for the wearer, so max movement speed potential, or rather the removal of max movement speed. So movement speed from multiple pair of boots do not stack, so sure, you don't. If you have this item in your neutral slot, it frees up space for another item, so that's very worthy of praise when it gets to 60 minutes. You know, the heroes are going to be 6-slotted. Any thoughts on Force Boots? First of all, also any experience with Force Boots? Has anyone had a game where Force Boots?
So that's what dropped for me in my game yesterday. But I didn't cast it once.
Man, 9-second cooldown. That's so low.
Because I had it on mouse button and I didn't feel comfortable using it. So it forced me to change my button. Now I have my button on F. So.
I've had a game with Force Boots. I didn't use them, but someone on the enemy team had them. It's wild how far forward it pushes you. Actually, no, it doesn't. I feel like that's been nerfed since release. But yeah, Marco, you mentioned 9-second cooldown.
Dispel as well, very big. Also, we were kind of diving the fountain. I didn't want to use it. It was like tense fighting, and we were already so deep. So
it pushes you the same as Force Staff, by the way, 600.
But it is very strong.
Yeah.
So yeah, Force Staff 23-second cooldown. This is 8. Sorry, 9.
And 40% move speed.
To put that into perspective, Brown Boots is 15% and Boots of Travel is 32%, so it's more than Boots of Travel.
I mean, I think this is one of the strongest support items. I think Force Staff is one of the best items in the game, but then with this, it's like someone gets stunned, not only do you push them to a positional safety, you dispel the stun on the ally, and then you're doing that level of save. Basic dispel?
You can't use it on anyone. You only use it on yourself.
You can only use it on yourself.
Basic dispel isn't...
Yeah.
Oh, you can't use it on someone else?
Hard to dispel. It's not a strong dispel.
Oh, no, yeah, sorry. Yeah, it's because I was thinking you could cast it on someone.
Yeah, you can't.
Oh, okay, never mind.
So yeah, you can't, obviously... It's not a strong dispel because... Yeah, it's only a weak dispel. But if you're silenced, you can unsilence yourself.
Okay, so maybe this would be
slowed or whatever.
Brokenly good if you could use it on other people. So it's just yourself you can use it. Even so, for a support, alright, now I don't think it's as crazy good.
Yeah, the other thing to consider as well is because boots don't stack, this 40 movement speed seems incredible, and it is very good, obviously. But likely you don't really want to have this one and Boots of Travel. If you do, then a lot of this item becomes less big because sure, you're unlocking movement speed, but also you're not getting plus 32. You're not getting any extra speed
8.
From travels. Yeah, so it's
basically
a
I got
weird.
8 bonus move speed. That's all I had because I didn't use it once. So
yeah,
very cool.
And also like, if you do remove Boots of Travel for this item, it's like, the Boots of Travel active, the teleporting is so strong.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a bit weird. You kind of want to have both, and if you have both, then it's not as strong, the Force Boots by themselves.
If I think who's using this item, I really don't see anyone but the position 4 or 5 feeling like it's useful and just using it for purely safety. 9 seconds, you're always just kind of saving yourself. Kind of thing. I don't think it's ever worth anyone else's slot.
Definitely not, especially considering these other tier 5 neutral items. You're going to be able to find better ones for your other heroes. Let's have a look at Stygian Desolator or whatever. I don't know how you pronounce that. Is that a Dota 1 thing?
Stygian.
Stygian?
I
don't know. It almost is kind of like Bloodseeker's name, but I preferred the item when it was called Desolator 2.
Yeah,
honestly.
That's funnier. Yeah. People say this is a Dota 1 name. I don't know.
No, it is, yeah.
Oh, it is, okay. 75 damage and passive Greater Corruption. Your attacks reduce the target's armor by 10 for 7 seconds. Quickly to put it in perspective, Desolator is 50 damage, so 25 less damage, and your attacks reduce the target's armor by 7 for 7 seconds, so compared to 10. So it is a better Desolator, but it's not that much better. The damage used to be 100 and the armor used to be 12. So it's been nerfed, which is interesting. Do you still think this item's strong? I feel like it's...
Well, it stacks with Desolator.
Yep.
So
okay,
that's pretty strong. Like, you can get minus 17 armor on a hero.
Yeah. How good is this compared to Daedalus, say? Which is more damage.
It's better for pushing. It's better for objectives.
Yeah, which is big at 60 minutes.
Better for killing enemy cores, or a lot of enemy cores, e.g. Agi heroes are going to have a lot of armor. That tanks them a lot. Strength heroes could have armor items. So in the very late game, if you can, stack some minus 17 armor on someone.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but also the later the game goes on, the less effective minus armor is. Like, the more armor a hero has, minus armor has less effect. If you're reducing someone's armor from 3 to minus 2, that's way bigger than reducing it from 20 to 15. That has a much higher increase in DPS.
It's not 20 to 15, it'll be 20 to 10 at min.
I honestly preferred the original version that dropped at 70 minutes that gave you minus 12 and 100 damage. Like 75 damage and minus 10 armor. I feel like it can be outclassed at 60 minutes. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it can be outclassed by Apex, because that gives primary attribute, and that gives 75 damage, and if you're an Agi hero, that obviously gives you a lot of attack speed and armor as well. But having said that, a lot of these other items, they don't really give you a ton of damage. You know, Fallen Sky, if you're a strength or int hero, it gives you 20. Book of the Dead gives you 30 if you're a strength or an int hero. Apex, obviously, like I mentioned, that gives you 75. So it is the highest damage item. So I guess it still has a place. You still just want it. It's still pretty strong to just slap on your DPS hero. It's hard to...
You're getting a sizable amount of DPS from this. If you're going to put it on for free, because you're going to have a lot of attack speed at this point in the game. So then you're getting big boost of effective damage, which...
It's
and
free
also,
in the sense of a...
Go on.
I was going to say, it's free in the sense of a slot. It's a free slot.
Yeah. So
that's what I was going to say is I had a momentary brain lapse and forgot that this is not competing for a slot with any other item. So it's actually just great.
So a lot of the time you could have a carry or cause where they have to have certain items, like defensive items, but then are a bit damage starved, and then you can get something like this, which really gives you a boost that you need and aren't able to get otherwise. So the slot point is strong.
This Desolator doesn't immediately strike you as OP, yet they nerfed it. Do you think they're just being very careful to not give crazy DPS items that like an Agi carries Wet Dream kind of item, because they're the most easy to be abused, as we've seen with Apex? Do you think they're just a bit wary, and that's why this Deso comes across as on paper a little bit more underwhelming than some of these other ones? Because it's damage and it's minus armor, which is exactly what a carry needs. It's not like this weird force active, which is like, it's amazing, but it's not what I would like, ideally. I'd like a 4-staff that I can use on allies every 9 seconds.
Maybe behind the scenes, there was a really strong win rate on that old Stygian Desolator. Because I agree, these nerfs came out of nowhere, it feels like. But obviously, I've got literally zero sample size of playing with this item.
Yeah.
So maybe there was data to suggest it was really strong when picked up.
Yeah, that could very well be the case.
I think it's really good.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't do tiers. Go on, where's Force Boots going?
Force Boots, so let's see what we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 12 tier 5 items still in the game. So Force Boots would be A tier for me. Tier 1, not S tier. We're going to go Marco tier strat.
Okay, Marco tier strat.
Tier 1.
I'm going to go tier B for this one. Or tier 2, sorry. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Sorry,
tier
Marco.
2 as well.
Okay.
And then Deso, I'll probably go... I'm not sure, it's so hard to say with these ones, but I think I'd probably go... I want to say
Deso, I'm going tier 1.
I want to say like tier 1.5.
Yeah. I want to say tier 1, but I think the heroes that it would be really good on probably are a bit too uncommon.
Yeah, I'm going tier 2, I've decided, because the reason I'm going tier 2 is we move on to Seer Stone. For me, this is a tier 1 item. 350 cast range and 350 bonus vision. I personally think this is insane, so let me find Aether Lens for a reference point. Extra range?
Yeah.
Okay, we're there. This is why you're on the pod, Adam. So this is better than a Aether Lens considerably. 350 versus 250, that's quite nice. And 350 vision, that's not to be ignored. Like, vision is huge in late game situations. You poke your head up a ramp or going high ground, you just see a lot more. I think this item on a spellcaster is amazing.
What I like in the tooltip or on the wiki page is that they took the time to write that multiple Seer Stones stack. So if you do ever steal one from the enemy team, plus 700 cast range and plus 700 vision, it'd be pretty cool.
Although you can't have both at once.
True. So this was outdated.
Outdated?
But man, imagine.
Yeah, that would have been funny.
What if there was a tier 5 item that gave you an extra neutral item slot? That's all it did.
How would that work?
Well, then you'd be able to have 2 neutral items.
But
it's a neutral item taking up one of the slots. You need to get 2.
No, you would consume it like a jelly.
Okay.
Interesting.
That's too big brain for me.
Yeah.
Can only deal with the ones we got. Thoughts on Seer Stone?
Yeah, I agree. Very strong on a spellcaster. And it's not just spells, it's items as well. In nighttime, this is going to be so potent. If you think a hero might have something like 900 or 1,000 night vision, and you smoke, and then you can see them an extra 33% far away. And then
it's even more than that, I think. I think you only have 800 night vision.
I know sometimes people have 900, 1.8.
Well, some heroes, yeah.
So I'm just going to assume that's average. But anyway, particularly nighttime, massive strategic advantage. But then your items, that could be that hex coming from a mile away or your Yule setup or something. Really, really strong.
This makes your smokes better too because you have more vision range than your smoke breaking.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
It's so, like, you think about, say, even a Wyvern with just an Ether Lens, like Stan mentions. God, that hero's hard to...
A what?
A Winter Wyvern. So when...
With what?
An Aether Lens, blah, blah, blah. Aether Lens, hiding in the trees. That hero's really hard to get to. And like we've mentioned, the support backlines is nearly everything about late game fights. So if you've got this Seer Stone, you could be just so far away, say with a Blink Dagger or even just 4-staff hiding in the trees, just impossible to find, and can then just always guarantee some sort of spell casting, which then wins games, wins fights.
And you already have a night vision talent on Wyvern.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Which is even more vision.
Just in demo now, like it's crazy how much this gives you. So just standing with a Blink Dagger, the blink range is absurd with this item, and also just for something you don't even think about, like warding. I'm standing on steps. You know how the demo is just like a mid lane basically. I can ward the other ramp, like I can ward up the other ramp while I'm standing on the stairs of my own ramp. Like,
yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's crazy, this vision bonus. Like Marco said, you think of a hero like Winter Wyvern, that's going to be able to utilize this item so well when you've got a blink and you've got, say, maybe a Yule's, and obviously you've got your spells. You can position like halfway across the map and blink curse. Like,
but also the enemy team, they can't configure their own brain to take account of this extra cast range. So you with your supports, is that the Hex or is it a Stun or is it some AoE Disruptor Silence or any of your spells? You're always going to catch the enemy team out. You can always catch them out if you're say, the one making that first move. And so like the enemy team could literally see you and be like, oh, I see my brain kind of knows the cast range and spell range and all that, but then this Seer Stone will just completely turn the tide. You initiate a fight from a million miles away and just GG.
Let's go to Mirror Shield then. On release, this item was absolutely bonkers when it gave a 75% chance to reflect a spell.
Did we tier the last one?
Yes, I said tier 1.
I think it's tier 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, all in agreement then. Mirror Shield, 20 all attributes, and the passive is now block and reflect most targeted spells back to their caster every 8 seconds. What does that mean? That's a weird thing to say. Block and reflect most targeted spells. Just not all of them.
I guess some might get through.
Right, like Fiend Script, say.
Well, I think it would cancel Fiend Script, but like Grimstroke ult seems to work through Lycan's.
Okay.
So sometimes I feel it's like some. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
You're trying to say
every 8 seconds it reflects a spell. Most of them.
Yeah.
Like 95% of the time, it works 100% of the time.
Yeah, so, Adam, when you look at this active, it's kind of underwhelming. Is it redeemed by having plus 20 all attributes? Or do you just think the item is just an 8-second cooldown Lycan's? Or how do you see Mirror Shield?
Well, it's like a Lycan's Lotus, right?
True, yeah.
So, in that case, it's pretty good. The 20 in all stats makes it definitely... I mean, it's like a Scotty, kind of. A little less than Scotty. But there's some real stinkers on this list, so this is definitely usable.
Yeah.
And I feel weird. Maybe I'll move Force Boots down to tier 2 and put Mirror Shield at tier 1. Because even if you backtrack, because it is kind of just like old Void backtrack in a way. If you can just get lucky and bounce back like a Laguna, or I guess it's not luck anymore, it's 8 seconds. It's hard to deal with, is what I'm getting at. Sometimes you only have and especially if you build like a Lycan's too, you get into big territory. Or you'd like throw this on an AM with counterspell already. It's like good luck ever killing that guy.
Yeah, the fact that it is Lotus and Lycan's is huge because you can't, like you say, in so many games, it's not like you can just casually break this and then go on them. Because it basically means that, say, the Lion, he has to blink Hex or, say, blink Mana Drain. Suddenly he's Mana Draining himself, and then he follows up with Hex. Like, there are ways around it. I suppose Lion's literally the perfect hero that I've picked out there. But most heroes, in most games... Shaman,
blink, Hex, Shackle, or I guess you blink Aether, but...
You can't. It's like on Shaman, you can't stop.
Well, Ether Shock, I guess. You have to queue.
Yeah,
but it's right, like you're casting extra spells poorly just to break things. In late game, someone's going to chrono you or blow you up as a support.
Yeah. To be fair, Sharp, we've picked like
we did. I was like, these other multiple stun heroes. Oh wait, he also has a Q that just
maybe that's why Bane is so good now, because you can just brain sap yourself and then Fiend Script the Mirror Shielded target. Marco, a tier for this one?
I kind of want to say 1.5. I don't know if that's might be getting biased by the fact that all these items are naturally going to be really strong. Maybe I feel like 1.5, honestly, because the stats are really are quite nice. 8 seconds is low, and I think the fact that you could get one reflected spell that just turns a fight, like Adam says, really does give it that X factor and you'll hit that X factor every game as well, because someone will always happily use this item and get value out of it. So it is consistent.
I think tier 1. I think I'd say tier 1 if I was pushed, because like you say, you're going to get value out of it every game, and if you go on a hero with Mirror Shield, even if you break it once, if they survive 8 seconds, there's no visual cue to say that it's back. So someone might just cast Hex, and then they just hex themselves. That's obviously going to be really, really bad in a late game situation. If you hex yourself, you're probably going to die. So yeah, it's the fact that it's on an 8-second cooldown, like you say, it means you're guaranteed to get value out of it, it feels like.
But then in the very late game, you could argue that the enemy cores aren't going to give a toss about this spell, and enemy cores will still mince you up anyway. In which case, okay, it's giving you some stats, but those stats aren't winning games at 60 minutes or aren't making as big an impact at 60 minutes, so it's hard.
Also BKB, you know, if someone BKB, even like a shaman, say, you BKB Hex, Shackle, like you don't care, it's not going to affect you because you're BKB. It's like you reflected your own Hex. Great, I've got BKB. So there are ways to play around it. Adam, tier for this one before we move on?
1, because I moved Force Boots down.
Okay. Alright, yeah. I'll go 1 as well.
I think there should be 3 tier 1s. So,
okay.
Mirror Shield, Desolator, and Seer Stone are my 3 tier 1s.
I'm probably gonna add another one to tier 1. We're talking about Apex now. Increases your primary attribute by 75. How big is this? Plus 75 primary attribute, and is it, what type of hero do you want this on? Is it just like, give this to our Agi carry?
Or an OD?
Yeah, God, yeah. Or OD. It's kind of a straightforward item.
It's the S
How much
tier.
do we need to... S tier still? Even with
this
the
is
change?
my S tier.
What makes you think it's S tier? It's just 75 is a huge number.
75 damage.
Yeah.
And that, well, it depends on what attribute, but it's always 75 damage. And then it's either like almost 11 armor. It's 75 attack speed. It's and this is on Agi. And then how much health is that? How much health is it on a strength hero?
1.5.
Yeah, 1500. It's just strong. It's just strong.
Yeah.
It's almost the worst on an int hero, unless you are OD. Then it's one of the best case scenarios.
Yeah. I find it hard to say because I haven't seen it since the change, but I guess it's still going to do roughly the same thing. When you see these ridiculous clips of a Trial Ranger or a Morphling with Apex, the old Apex, I presume, I don't know how much Agi they were getting in those situations, but it can't be that much more than 75, or were they getting like 150?
What did it used to be? 75%
yeah.
boost.
Yeah. So you'd be a lot more than just plus 75.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so 100 Agi, you'd get 75. If it was the old 75%, so you'd imagine a drone, well, definitely on Morph, has like hundreds of Agi at 60 minutes in the game. But yeah, I'd agree that I think it is S tier because really, every game this drops, there's going to be an Agi hero. Like, how many games go to 60 minutes that don't have some Agi core on one of the teams? Yeah. I feel like it's pretty rare that you wouldn't have an Agi hero in the game. And the attack speed with then damage, 75 damage, 75 attack speed. That's a lot of attack speed, 1.5 Hyperstones. That's serious. And then the armor, like Adam says, is nice. Even a little bit of movement speed in there, also a little bit nice. It's just so strong and just, like I said, every game, someone's getting a beast mode from this.
Yeah. I'm happy to go S tier as well then. You've convinced me. If Desolator, it's just better. It's a lot better than Desolator. So
S tier.
If that's the case, then I've got another item that's SS tier. But Ballista, I mean, kind of a weird one. 250 attack range for ranged only, and knocks back the enemy 50 distance, dealing 30 pure damage. Tier 1.
This is tier 2 for me.
Tier 2
because this dropped in my game and we had no one to carry it. So sometimes
melee heroes.
Yeah, sometimes it's going to happen. Like we had PA, Void Spirit, Axe Cores, and then you're not going to throw a Ballista on a Rubik or a Grimstroke. So you're kind of just like, well, that is a bit of an oof. So that's the reason why I'm not good. It's not like universally good in every game. But even this on a sniper is pretty solid.
Even if you're a sniper, though, would you not rather have Stygian Desolator or the Apex for the extra attack damage?
Well, if those don't drop, then I think the knockback is slept on. The knockback, especially with headshots and the other knockback talent. The 30 pure damage is kind of weird, but the knockback is so obnoxious for melee heroes to deal with.
It feels like, if there's a sniper, it could be good, or I don't know, a deucer who wants to sit deep and have melee heroes try and run at her. Oh, it could be good, but I don't feel really convinced.
Prophet, I don't know. That's why I have it in. I have it in tier 2. I don't even have.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I'm demoing with sniper, and it's a bit underwhelming.
If I think about the attack range component of I can now be positioned even deeper in fights if I'm some core ranged hero to get damage done, but I don't feel like that 250 makes the difference. If I'm sieging, I don't think being able to siege from 250 more distance makes a difference.
Yeah,
it's not like you're a support who 250 cast range makes all the difference, because you now can be a bit more elusive, hide before you initiate. If you're a right clicker, either they get on you or they don't get on you. That 250 attack range, I don't think swings any balance.
Yeah, I completely agree. If you imagine being against a sniper or a drow ranger, or typically those heroes that you think, this that's perfect for them. Those are the heroes that this item's made for. It doesn't matter whether they've got a ballista or not. In a late game situation against a sniper, if you're not finding him and jumping on him, that's going to be a really bad situation for you. It doesn't matter whether he's got an extra 250 attack range or not.
And then it's like you're outranging your spells too. Like if you're Lena, you can't. Your Dragon Slave is less ranged than your
very
your
true.
attack.
Very true.
So it's like, what do you even do? I don't know. I feel like this is on an OD. It would be great, right?
Yeah, I could see it on OD. I suppose.
Yeah, someone who's in the middle, like medium attack range, not a 600 kind of attack range hero, maybe.
Like maybe a TA could be quite nice on TA, low attack range hero. Even then, though, you want that Deso too, or Apex.
Yeah.
Woodland Striders, 50% movement speed plus 50 HP regeneration, creates a path of trees behind you for 3 seconds. Trees last 15 seconds. And removes movement speed and allows pathing through trees. Bit of a weird one. Is this just going to a support?
When it used to last 60 seconds, it was meme tier. It had its own...
Yeah.
It had its own tier, but 15 seconds now it's just like, I don't know. I guess it can still be meme tier. 50 HP regen is really strong. The trees, you could kind of do some, like, you can run around somebody and tree them in. You can't tree in the Ancient anymore.
I was going to say, I guess I'll pose the question to you. Do you think this is like a POS 3 item, like a big tanky hero that now moves really fast, plus 50, which is 10 more than Force Boots, by the way.
It's just whatever you can fit it on. Like, you could just put it on a support. It's like a Rubik would want move speed. I think all supports want move speed, so 50% is really strong.
I think we're overlooking the tree walking. To be able to move through trees, that's one of its passives.
Well, that's good too, yeah.
That, to me, in the very late game, that is such a nuisance. If you think how annoying it is to find a tree locked down and kill him, if it's like that on some 60-minute support, even in like Stan says a POS 3 who's running through the trees, you can't catch them, they're really fast. Big nuisance.
Yeah, this is passive walking through trees. Yeah, that's really good.
Does that mean it's not even disabled by damage?
Yeah, just...
You're just walking through the trees.
That's insane if it's not disabled by damage. You literally just can escape so easily.
That means you can lay down a path of trees and then walk through it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's good. Does this have to be tier 1 then? It seems good. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's too difficult to pull off versus just like, here's 75 damage. Do you know what I mean? It's maybe a bit harder, but 50% move speed's a lot. It's like they're the fastest boots in the game by a good margin.
I think this would make you really hard to catch, and then also means your own catch is stronger because you zip through trees to get that initiation you want.
Yeah.
So I've not seen it in practice, so it's hard to say. The active, I know it was memey at first, but could get some interesting use out of it, like blocking a ramp, say, or something cool. I feel like there's potential. I want to say 1.5 for
I think
tier.
there's potential as well. I'd be up for
it's
trying
pretty
it.
good. I think it's slept on.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Is this one that we'll look back on in a year when there's been enough games that people have figured out how to use it? It will be S tier. But now nobody's got more than like 1 or 2 games of experience with it, so they're just really bad at using it.
I can imagine some pub, and we're going to see some Holy Hexor video where they're all like pub players, so 5 of them are in the Rosh Pit erroneously, and some guy runs in and does traps them all in the Rosh Pit with these trees, and then they all get kind of 5-man wombo comboed because they can't get out of the Rosh Pit.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
That's an interesting one. I think moving on, for me personally, we've got a pair of items that I'm not convinced by. I know Book of the Dead's been buffed, but to start with Trident, this gives you Kaya, Sanj, and Yasha in 1, and gives you plus 30 to like every stat ever, basically. But it's a recipe, so you need to buy Kaya, Sanj, and Yasha, and they're not the most popular items.
No, that can't be right. It still is a recipe?
Yeah, it's still a recipe, this one.
It doesn't drop the full item.
No, it just combines them all.
So you have to buy... Like, there's going to be lots of games where you don't have a hero with S
You're
and
telling
Y
me
or...
Fallen Sky drops as a full item now, and Trident still drops as a recipe.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. It's kind of weird.
God,
That's
this
terrible.
is annoying.
So yeah, I don't like Trident personally. I think it's the weakest item. I think it's tier 3.
This should just drop as its own thing.
Yeah.
Well, they nerfed it too. Why would they nerf it? Because it used to be 33 and everything. Why would they nerf it? And not let it drop as a full...
Oh, I tell you what is a big thing, though. This is kind of a big thing. If you do have a hero with S and Y, it now gives you S and Y even better and takes the slot away. That's quite strong, actually. To think about just having a passive S and Y without it using a passive SYK even better because it's 30% and it doesn't even take a slot. Maybe Blizzard... oh my god, I said Blizzard there, Jesus. Maybe Valve has some secret stats that it's actually a sick item. That's why it's being nerfed.
I think it is a sick item, but I think it should just drop.
That would be insane if it dropped. 30 strength, 30 all attributes, 30 status resist, 30 attack speed, 30 move speed, 30 self HP regen, lifesteal amp, 30% mana cost, mana loss, and 30% spell amp. Like, if that just dropped...
Yeah, I think it should drop.
Bonkers. Yeah. Do you think the fact it's just a recipe matters 60 minutes into the game?
Yeah, because a lot of the time you can't sink 6k into a Trident.
Yeah.
And a lot,
That's
like,
true.
Sanj and Yasha, Kaya and Sanj, and then Kaya Yasha aren't they aren't that ubiquitous of an item.
Yeah. That's true.
For you're just like, oh, I'll just spend 2k. Like, you would totally spend 2k to finish it. Or like 2050 to finish. You totally would. But a lot of the heroes haven't spent 4100 throughout the first 60 minutes of the game to make it a possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
to me, this is
it's like a dead item.
I think if you're a mid, someone like Storm Spirit's coming to my mind. They like the attack speed, spell damage great, mana loss great, stats cool, but yeah, they're never going to be having... I mean, it's unlikely a Storm's going to be having a Kaya Yasha in the slot. Just no one builds those items. They're such mid-game item to build. No one's ever going to think it's a core late-game item to have one of those SMYs.
It's like those heroes that build Sanj and Yasha for status resist, and they stack status resist. Maybe if it gets to 60 minutes, they'll buy it.
Even then, you're just getting halberds. You're just stacking halberds. You're not getting S and Ys for the Sanj. I would say, though, that these numbers are low-key crazy. 30%.
They're crazy numbers, but I don't think many heroes get all the value from it. So, like, yeah, an LC loves a buffed S and Y, or anyone that gets Kaya Yasha loves a buffed Kaya Yasha, but then most often they don't care about all 3 components. I think a handful of heroes kind of like all 3 components, like some mids, but those mids aren't going to be building Kaya Yasha Sanj.
Yeah,
So it's just
I know what you
awkward.
mean.
It's an
I know what you
awkward
mean.
balance. It is strong in the right hands, and it is strong just on its own. But when it's strong, no one's got the components for it.
If there's a hero with S and Y, like a Lifestealer, or there's a Storm with Kaya Sanj, or an OD with Kaya Yasha or something,
OD
does that make
might
it S tier?
maybe. Ooh,
Because
make
I just feel like it's giving you the stats of a Scardy and more. It's giving you the status resist of a Satanic. It's giving you 2.5 times more spell amp and mana loss, mana cost than a Kaya. It's giving you 30 move speed. Like, I don't know. It's kind of crazy what it does give you. But the fact that in a lot of games, it's a 60-minute drop, and it literally costs 6k as well if you don't have Kaya Yasha or Kaya Sanj already, you know. So it's kind of situationally S tier, but also situationally tier 2, tier 3, is what it feels like to me.
Yeah,
depending on what the items are.
I really do. I do think it is only a few mid heroes that are going to get the Omega value from it, and then those mid heroes I don't think are building Kaya Sanj, and so there are very few games I think it'll be really strong.
You can't imagine a carry finding an SMY. I mean, it's not common, is it? There are hardly any carries building SMY at the moment.
No carry wants to be at 60 minutes and have an SMY in one of the slots.
That they definitely don't. If they do, though, I mean, imagine Satanic plus Trident as that 60% magic status resist, or I guess it stacks diminishingly, I suppose. But even so, like, that's going to be bonkers. That's going to be bonkers.
You could argue that at 60 or 70 minutes in the game, there will be one hero with surplus funds. And so it can be like, okay, I can sink 6k to get this OP Trident. But even then, 6k, it's a lot. If it was a 3k investment, then we're talking, okay, this could quite realistically fit into the game. But 6k? Oof.
All right, well, let's give this a tier then. What are you thinking?
I'm going to say 3, honestly. I think 1 in 100 games, it could be sick.
You're saying 1 in the 100 of the 1 in 100 games that go to 60 minutes?
Yeah, 1 in 100 games that go to 60 minutes, it'll be really sick.
Why is it being nerfed then? What do Valve know?
I'm going to say it's tier 3.
I'm going to say it's tier S/3.
Well, yeah, maybe that's the way you say it.
Yeah.
If someone conveniently builds Trident, it's OP, but that conveniently built Trident happens 1 in 100 games. So on the whole, I don't want to see it dropped.
Yeah, there's also, for our UK listeners, there's definitely like a satire joke about Trident, as in like the UK's nuclear weapons program, like only being needed once in whatever 500 million years, but
there has to be a Valve.
I won't find that joke, unfortunately.
The 3-3 as well. I feel like
yeah,
Valve loves number 3.
Yeah. Book of the Dead, plus 30 strength, plus 30 int. Summon 2 sets of level 3 necro units that last 75 seconds. Wow. Units have 50% more health and damage. Is this recent buff giving them 50% more health and damage? Does this bring the item out of tier 3? Or is it still kind of tier 3?
No, I think it's tier 2.
Okay. Why?
30 strength, 30 int. This is what our Rubik had. I mean, we won a game against Megas because we were able to push out a lane with it.
Yeah,
so,
they do last an awfully long time.
They hit pretty hard.
And
they're 30 strength is pretty tanky for a support to carry.
And you get 2 purges on the archers.
Well, no one's doing that.
Whoa. I mean, I love a bit of it. That's why I build Necro 3. I can see tier 2, maybe even... I could see tier 2. The fact that it's like a free lane push.
Yeah,
well, okay, you got to be loving that.
I like that point, yeah. The 75 duration, I mean, it's the first time I've ever gone on to Book of the Dead because I just heard about it and had no interest in looking into more detail. But 75 duration is sizable, and like you say, free lane push, shoving waves wins games, so tier 2, fine.
Okay.
It's not one of these game-winning items. It's not going to be that's something more that I don't know. I don't feel like it's going to be the game-winning item, but it kind of eases your game. And maybe some games, it could be really helpful. Say your lane push is just a bit shit, or you're against megas. Could be good.
Yeah. I agree, I think, tier 2. I don't think there's a ton to discuss. It's like, yeah, they push lanes, which is excellent. They farm a lot, not really relevant 60 minutes into the game.
Yeah, it is.
And then it's just like you get the strength in. You like it on a hero, like you like having it on your team, probably.
Yeah.
On a POS 4 or POS 3 that might not necessarily get the best value out of some of these other items outside of, say, Seer Stone. If a Seer Stone isn't dropping, then for support, this is kind of nice, right?
Yeah, and if someone said to me in a random game, would you rather this Book of Dead dropped or Trident? I'd be like, yeah, I know with much more confidence Book of the Dead can do something for me in this game. Give me that. So
rather than a recipe.
Literally.
Yeah.
So there is a bit of certainty from this item. So yeah, but even say if it was 40 minutes in the game, that would be really strong, I think, because the wave pushing aspect would be much more relevant. But at 60 minutes in the game, when everyone's much fatter, being able to shove waves or have some deep push mechanic is less prevalent. But yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. Okay. Let's push through these last 3 then. Fallen Sky, 20 strength, 20 int, 15 HP regen, 10 mana regen. Pretty nice. But active, transforms into a meteor that strikes down at the target area for 0.5 seconds. I mean, to summarize all of this, you literally blink into a meteor hammer, like your hero becomes the meteor hammer and you appear where you press this meteor hammer. It's instant, there's no charge. Like meteor hammer, obviously you have to channel the spell and then it drops. There's no charge, it just instantly happens.
0.5 seconds?
Oh, 0.5 seconds, yeah, okay. So yeah, you get the animation of the meteor, which is 0.5 seconds. But it can't be cancelled. As in, if you there's no channel, it just happens 0.5 seconds after you press it. It's 2 seconds stun in a 350 AoE, 1600 range. That's compared to 1200 on Blink Dagger, so it's longer than a blink. And you can have blink and this item now, so you can use it to go in, Fallen Sky in, and then instantly blink out again. For me, I've had one game with this item in, and I already thought it anyway, but this item is like the most insane item. It's absolutely unreal how sick this item is. I don't understand, like in the game I played with it, we just slapped it on, I can't remember what hero it even was in the end. I think it was like a PA just had it, and just it's a 2 second stun from out of vision and just instantly kill a hero.
The cast range, 600, I don't really get why it's that big. And then it's a 15-second cooldown, so it's constantly up. 1600, that's just seems a bit stupid that you can just blink across your whole screen to then kill a support because you initiated from beyond a blink range. The range seems really obnoxious.
Yeah. And the AoE increases the range, it's even longer than that because you're actually stunning someone even further away. You're stunning someone an extra, what's the radius of this thing? Yeah, so it's actually, so it's like 9, you can stun someone that's 1900 units away?
Jesus.
The axe in my game had this item.
Oh,
so
GG.
Is pretty solid.
Yeah.
Blink in, Fallen Sky in, then follow up with a call. Very easy.
Yeah.
But you could also use this defensively, so you can use it on any target area of ground and just mobility, escapes, you do disjoint projectiles, just you completely disengage from a fight if you wanted to.
Yeah, you can always Fallen Sky in and then blink out or vice versa.
Yeah.
Cut waves.
Cut waves.
Gives you tower push as well. Like it gives you the meteor hammer effect on buildings. So
yeah, this is S tier for me.
Yeah, this one's definitely my favorite. I think it's the best one. And we talked about Apex as well being up there. This item's crazy item.
Imagine stunning 2 heroes for 2 seconds from a completely oblivious spot in the late game. You just win the game. You win the team fight because you stun 2 heroes for 2 seconds. Like, that's the edge you need to just blow a team fight up.
Yeah, and it's like, it's bonkers. You don't even have to use it at the start of the fight. You can use it. You can just have a normal team fight in the late game, and then it's like, oh, and now I have a 2-second stun to 350 AoE, and I'm on top of you at the same time. And it's like, even if it was just the active, I still feel like it'd be S tier. Gives you 20 strength, 20 and 15 HP regen, 10 mana regen. What? Like, it doesn't even need to give you that.
I don't get why this drops as an item and Trident doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly.
Why does this not drop as a recipe? Like, that doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a crazy good item. Let's blast through these last 2 then. Pirate Hat, this is a short one. 150 attack speed, and you get 300 gold. We steal 300 gold when you kill an enemy hero. So it's Bounty Hunter on steroids, Junada on steroids, plus a ton of attack speed. How do we feel about Pirate Hat?
So, I had this in a game when you could combine, when you could have multiple items, and my OD had an Apex and a Pirate Hat, and old Pirate Hat gave 250 attack speed.
Oof.
And that was insane.
Yeah.
Now it just gives 150 attack speed, so like 100 less, 2 hyperstones less. That's it's not as good. And the 300 gold isn't even as good because it used to give a bounty rune, which everybody got. Now, which is more than 300 gold, I guess. You know what I mean? So
yeah, you do steal it though, so 600 swing. Pop.
That is kind of cool, yeah, stealing it.
It's it's slightly above a Moonshard in terms of attack speed. Not a consumed Moonshard, just like a straight up Moonshard.
What, straight up Moonshard? 100?
No, straight up Moonshard's 140 and this is 150. So it's effectively a Moonshard. And that's not this gold element. It's not. It doesn't seem to me relevant at 60 minutes unless like someone's like, "Oh, I've got buyback now." Fight, and then you steal the 300 they needed to buy back. That's like the only situation I can see it being really impactful. So it's basically just giving you a Moonshard. To me, that doesn't seem as good as pretty much all these other items. I feel.
Yeah. I still feel inclined to say tier 1 because I feel like with a late game carry, if they're probably going to have some bash or maelstrom proc or heal, and they will probably already have a Moonshard, and you give them another and hitting hard, and it is pretty effective.
Even like a Satanic's very likely for lifesteal, even someone like that.
Yeah, it does make you DPS very good, although maybe it's similar increase to DPS to say a Stygian Desolator. It's just the fact you could get your passives and say you've got Basher, an extra likelihood of bashing is really nice. Yeah, and it's like consistent again.
It's not a lot to discuss really. It's just like, yeah, you get a Moonshard. We already know what Moonshard does. Heroes that are good with Moonshard are going to be good with Pirate Hat. I mean, it's pretty much as simple as that.
I feel like it's better now that it doesn't take up a slot.
Yeah.
But now it's less effective at what it does, but it's more usable.
Right. Yeah, you wouldn't want it, or it wouldn't fit into your 6 backpack, but on this neutral item slot, it would be very well received, and you'd happily have it there if you're this late game core.
Yeah. You're not going to be disappointed if a Pirate Hat drops, I think. It's always it's like the opposite of Trident in the sense that in 100% of games it's going to be good. It's going to help you in 100% of games.
Yeah, a 60-minute game is always going to have some right clicker.
Yeah, of course. Tier for this one then? You think tier 1?
3.
3?
Maybe I'll say 2 then. Bring it together.
I was feeling like I'd probably say 1.5 again.
Yeah, we need an extra tier for this one, I think.
I guess I'll throw it in 2. I'm trying to keep it like 3 of each.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like, there's 3S, 3-1, 3-2.
I don't think you can have 3S.
Yeah, there's not 3S.
Oh, I have 2S, so that means I get an extra 1 or 2, I suppose.
Okay. Well, final item then. Ex Machina, 20 armor. Bit interesting.
Well, we saved the worst for last.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Active, reset item cooldown. This is on a 45-second cooldown, costs 100 mana. Reset the cooldown on all items except Refresher Orb. I mean,
So it's just a
new,
refresher orb.
Except not, because it doesn't reset your spells.
It's just your items.
Oh wait, just items.
So
my
it's
Midas. My Midas.
Yeah, it's 2 plate mails, and it resets BKB, and I guess Abyssal.
What items? I mean,
My
2
Necro book.
hexes, 2 necro books.
Necro book, yeah.
My BKB.
Mjolnir.
Still,
active.
it's by Refresher. It's so much better than this.
Yeah.
I don't think it's trash.
It's trash. It's
I put it-
trash.
Very late games, get 2 BKBs is pretty good. 2 satanic.
I'd rather have a Helm of the Undying than this. Rest in peace, Helm of the
I feel
Undying.
like we're being a bit harsh. I think BKB, satanic.
Yeah, but you got to think there's 4 items in the game. Like, who are you? You're not seriously putting this on your BKB holding core, are you? Like, when there's all these other items, they can only have 1. I just feel like you're never.
know, honestly.
It's only finding its way onto like a POS 4 or POS 3, maybe.
16 minutes.
Some POS 3s have a BKB, sure. But
Yeah, you pause 3 and 2. They might not want or need more effective damage. They might just go, I need to be magic immune for that for 4 or 5 more seconds. Give me an X. Also, is it Ex Machina or Machina?
Ex Machina.
Is that fact?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's a thing. Deus Ex Machina is like a thing.
It's like a trope.
Yeah, it's like I know it from like movies and storylines. It's like a plot.
Yeah, plot device.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think tier 2's fine. I think it's harsh to say tier 3. Maybe you guys just don't press your items. I don't know.
I win a fight with my BKB. I don't need it again. Like, I don't know.
What are you gonna do if you have like a Daedalus or like a Scotty in this item? Like nothing. You're gonna double phase boot? Like I don't.
No, yeah, it's literally just double BKB or double head. BKB is in every single game. It's the best item in the game.
Yeah, but using it twice, it's like.
That could be really
sure.
high value in the very late game.
Maybe.
I think
Because it's on low cooldown.
the Ballista is worse than Ex Machina, and then Trident if you can't use it, and that's it.
Yes. I can get behind that, so happily put it in tier 2. Smiley.
See, that's tier 3 for me. But we have like third. It's third from last, I guess, is what I'm putting.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
All right, well, there you have it.
And 20 armor is pretty good. And I'm glad that has that because if it actually just refreshed item cooldowns, oof.
Yeah, 20 armor is quite nice. It's interesting. I'd rather that than like 25 strength. You know, it's a bit more interesting.
And it was better than Phoenix Ash, which isn't in the game anymore. And Fusion Rune was definitely stronger. So
Yeah, Fusion Room was wild. Actually, was that the only ones we've missed from tier 5?
those were those are only 2 taken out. And then did you ever hear about the Greater Mango?
No.
It never
Was that-
made it, but it was you
Was
would
meant to be.
consume it. It's in the it has a picture, it's in the game files, but it wasn't added. And you eat it and you die, but then you respawn and you have all talents.
What?
Yeah. I don't know what tier it was supposed to be, but it's actually that's what it did.
That's
It killed
crazy.
you, and then when you respawn, you had all the talents
That's
for your
funny.
hero. Yeah.
Well, yeah, there you have it. That's tier 5 neutral items. We can finally put neutral items behind us. Feels good, man.
It only
Thanks
took
for-
3 weeks.
Yeah, it only took, 4 episodes? We genuinely thought that we were going to do neutral items in one go. That is funny, to say the least.
Whoops.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
I mean, sometimes you got to spend 20 minutes talking about repair kit, which is what we did. 25 minutes.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Marco and Adam, for joining me and indulging me about neutral items. I don't know what we'll be talking about next week, but I do know that we'll be talking about it on a Friday. Well, at some point on a Friday for you guys, the listeners, because we're back to our normal schedule. This is something I should have said at the start, actually. Maybe I'll edit myself in saying it at the start. But the normal schedule is back. And that's us recording on a Thursday evening and then editing and releasing sometime on a Friday. So that's nice. And until then, bye.